Welcome to another edition of Saturday Sit Down. We go to Calgary, a short drive from Lethbridge, and we catch up with former Lethbridge Hurricane Jake Elmer. Jake, how are things going, my friend?
Good. Same old stuff as regular summers, just a little longer than most of them. So just kind of doing the same old thing I've been doing for the last couple of years in off seasons.
How's the training? Are you back on the ice as of yet? I know ice was probably scarce, early on after the season.
Yeah, I'm skating 3 times a week now. It was a little delayed. I know I was home for probably 2 months before I kind of could get in the gym and do anything kind of thing. So, I've just been training, skating. Just trying to be prepared for the season whenever that may come.
I know you're doing a lot of golfing. How's the game? It looks like it's pretty good from your posts on social media.
Yeah, I like posting things on my social media about golf, and I think people kind of get maybe a little jealous that I'm out there golfing, so it kind of gives me a bit of joy. But I don't know, it's been good. I mean, I joined a golf course out in Calgary just for the summer, and I've been trying to get out there 3-4 times a week. So it's been great. It's been fun. I got my cousin a member out there too, so we go out and play all the time.
Are you sponsored? It looks like you're sponsored.
Yeah, I wish. I've reached out to some companies and they've sent me some stuff and kind of post stuff for them on my Instagram and kind of get the word out, but no sponsorship as of yet. Hopefully next year.
Yeah, well, maybe this will help your case.
Yeah, I hope so. If anyone's listening.
Yeah. Let's go back to the end of the season. Most of your year was spent in the East Coast Hockey League, but maybe walk us through the process at the end with the cancellation of the year and everything that went down at that level with COVID-19.
Yeah, I spent most of the time in Portland, Maine there with the Mariners. I think I played like 30-something games, a little bit of injuries, missed a couple games. I got called up to the American League. I was up there for probably 2.5-3 months throughout the entire year, just spread out over different times. Didn't get very many games in, but it was good. I mean, I learned a lot every time I went up and just how hard it is and how hard you have to be playing. So it was a really good learning experience for me. Season came to a close. I was actually in Hartford. I think I was supposed to play the next few games leading into playoffs, kind of earn my spot, maybe stick around kind of thing. So I was up there. I got put in quarantine for 3 days, and then we got the call that the borders might be closing. So made the drive home.
How long a drive is that from Portland?
I think it was 39. I was in Hartford, so it was like 39, 40 hours. It took me 4 days. So luckily I didn't have to go directly into Canada. They were allowing essential service or passage through. So I stayed overnight in Cleveland, stayed overnight in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and then in Estevan on the way home. So
I know a couple of weeks ago we caught up with Jordy Bellerive on Saturday Sit Down. He said it was a 50-hour drive from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton to Vancouver. Yeah. And I asked him, and I'll ask you, how do you fill a 40-hour car ride? Are you a podcast guy? Do you listen to music? Jordy said he talked to people on the phone.
Yeah, I did probably all three. I listened to a lot of music. I think I listened through my whole Spotify like songs twice. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I actually listened to a lot, and then every other hours I was calling people. So whether it was my girlfriend, my parents, or just buddies, I was on the phone a lot for those 40 hours.
I can only imagine that. That's a lot of time to fill.
A lot of Tragically Hip played on those highways.
Hey, I knew we were friends for a reason.
Yeah. The hip was going for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the season as a whole. You mentioned that you had kind of had a little bit of injuries, but the transition to pro, how was that for you?
It was good. It was harder than I thought. I had a little stint in Hartford after my 20-year-old year in Lethbridge, and I was successful with the opportunities I got. And maybe that messed with my head a little bit, but I came into camp thinking it was going to be a little bit easier than it actually is. So got a little bit of a kick in the pants there. Went down to the East Coast and worked my way up for a little bit. I had a great group of veteran guys in Portland, know how to be pros. They're really good guys. In Hartford, a lot of good pros and veterans. And even in New York, talking to those guys, seeing how they work, it was really cool to see the for sure differential between major junior and pro. It's just such a big step up. Those guys they're professionals, and you have to learn how to be professional. So I had some great guys, some older guys, really good guys to teach me the ropes and show me the path, the right path to be on.
I feel like that's maybe one of the, as much as the jump from junior hockey to professional hockey, be that the East Coast League, the AHL, if you go straight to the National Hockey League, yeah, that's an adjustment. But I feel like the biggest adjustment is probably just on the personal side of things. Now you're further away from home. You're probably living on your own, cooking on your own. Was that a bit of an adjustment for you?
Yeah, for sure the lifestyle, you don't have your billets cooking your pregame every day. You got to do that yourself, or if you're lucky enough, you can go to a restaurant and do it. Um, but for me, I was super fortunate. My girlfriend spent a lot of time down there. She'd go back every 3 months, just for border stuff. And she was a super great support off the ice for food and stuff like that. Um, just kind of keeping you company. But yeah, you definitely notice a difference between major junior and pro. Junior guys are hanging out with each other after the ice every day. You're going to a guy's house for a hot tub or play Xbox or do whatever. And you go to pro, those guys have lives, right? Some guys are doing school, some guys have kids, some guys have wives, family, they have friends in the area, they're from there. Like it's such a broad spectrum there. So it's cool to see how the transition guys do from off the ice. Guys stick together tight. Luckily for me, in the East Coast there, they put you up with a roommate. So I was living with a guy, two different guys throughout the year, and it was great. I got to be with those guys, so that was super awesome. But like I said, it's guys have lives away from the rink, and people go and do that. It's kind of their safety to get away from the rink sometimes.
On the ice, you're pretty good. You mentioned you played a couple of games with the Hartford Wolfpack in the American League. Most of the season spent in Maine with the Mariners, and your number is pretty good. 23 points in 36 games. You're an East Coast Hockey League All-Star. How did you feel you did on the production side? Were you happy with your game in your first year pro?
I was. I got some points. I was able to find a little bit of a scoring touch throughout the season. The biggest part for me, I just found the inconsistencies of my game. I'd have 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row where I was really good, and then I had 2, 3, 4, 5 really bad games. So it was hard for me to try to find that adjustment of living pro hockey life, and being consistent every day and coming to the rink. In junior, I had a little bit more of a bigger leash. A little bit, being an older guy, you kind of get a little bit more leeway on the ice with your favorable bounces and stuff like that, and mistakes. It's a bigger gap, but at the pro level, you have one mistake and you're done. So it's tough. I found it hard to transition in that sense, but I think when I got rolling, I was rolling. I made the All-Star game, which was super incredible. I had a little bit of a point streak going and such. So I was able to knock a couple things off my bucket list for pro hockey, but there's a lot more for sure to come.
Yeah, for absolutely. When you think of your hockey journey, and we'll talk about your time in Lethbridge here pretty quick, but when you think back 2.5 years, you're playing in the Alberta Junior Hockey League with the Grand Prairie Storm, and now you're 1 year done playing professional. Or when you went into the season this year, it was 2.5 years. Now it's like 3.5 years since you were playing Junior A. But can you put into words? Does that sink into you, saying 3 years ago I was playing AJHL and now I've played AHL games?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think. I'd never really looked at it from that picture, from that angle. But yeah, it's crazy. I guess I've always just been kind of a late bloomer. I kind of filled into my body like this year. I've always been the really skinny guy, kind of developing physically and also mentally in the game too. And I think it just came with age and confidence and great coaching ability. I thank Brent Kissio for a lot of my talents right now and my attributes that are positive things on the ice. But yeah, you can go down the list. There's a lot of great coaches that I've had that have helped mold me into being where I'm at. I just took the path B, I guess, to where I want to be. So yeah, hopefully I keep on moving up, and I'm going to do everything I can to do that. So
we roll back the clock 3.5 years ago, and I mentioned you spent half the season with the Grand Prairie Storm. The second half you spent with the Kootenay Ice, and then at training camp, the year going into your 19-year-old season, Kootenay traded you to Lethbridge, and it kind of seemed like that's when everything kind of came together. How excited were you when you found out that you had been traded to Lethbridge? And of course, that was a team that was coming off a conference final berth the year before, and was going in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I had mixed emotions. You know, I liked the guys in Kootenay. One of my best friends was on that team. My family was, or my grandparents lived in Kimberley, which is 10 minutes outside of Cranbrook. I had a lot of roots in Cranbrook, and I liked playing there. But, you know, I was a little upset driving to Lethbridge because I kind of thought I maybe wouldn't play very much, and I had a lot of what ifs. But, you know, I switched the mindset quickly once I got to my billet house and kind of sat down and realized, wait, this could be a really good opportunity for you. You know, there wasn't going to be a lot of opportunity for me in Kootenay, and I just had to come into Lethbridge and kind of prove it. I had a slow start, I thought, kind of just working out the kinks of a new team, new billet, new everything. Once I had to sit down with Pete and Holt, and we had a kind of a heart-to-heart, kind of get your butt going, and I turned it around from then, and I thought I had a really good 19-year-old year second half, and then my 20-year-old year I had a really good year too.
You always hear from athletes, and I'm sure you can attest that confidence is such a key thing. And you talk about that 19-year-old year. Your second half was really good. The playoffs, really good. What do you remember about that conference final run, beating Red Deer and Brandon, and of course playing Swift Current? What do you remember from that, and how much fun was that? And you kind of came into yourself during that playoff.
Yeah, you know, I spent a lot of time off the ice with Brad Morrison. We would drive. I'd drive him every day to the rink. I'd drive him to Fabutan if he wanted to go for a tan, if he wanted a smoothie. Like I was his errand boy, but I loved it. I got to know him really well. We gained chemistry, a really strong chemistry off the ice that flourished into the on the ice aspect of our game. You know, Brad had I think 37 points in 14 games in playoffs, and I had I think 14 and 14 or something like that. I thought I really did really well, and I just would find Brad the puck, and once I'd be getting him the puck and he'd be getting points, my confidence would boost, and then Jaden Joseph's confidence would boost, and then Beller's confidence would boost, and it was just a trickle down effect throughout our whole team. We kind of carried around Brad and Tate Olson too. Those were two guys that really led the way, and we kind of just followed their lead and built our confidence off the ice. We were hanging out with it as a team all the time. We were doing whatever it was. We were bowling. We were just hanging out, playing Xbox, whatever it could have been. We were doing it together as a group, and that boosted our team confidence, and it grew my confidence. So into the off season for my 20-year-old year, I really had a high confidence. I was feeling good off the ice, on the ice, and I was able to continue my success train upwards from last year into my 20-year-old year, and it ended up being a good season.
You mentioned Brad Morrison, and yeah, that incredible run he went on during that playoff. But his situation that year, he was drafted, didn't sign, and then had that great second half and got an NHL contract out of it with the Los Angeles Kings. And going into your overage season, kind of similar. You were undrafted in the NHL, didn't have a contract, and you kind of parlayed the success from that playoff into your overage season, and 39 goals and 81 points. Did you kind of lean on Brad? Did you talk to him, and did you look at what he did and say, hey, I can do this too?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny enough, I was kind of looking for some motivation off the ice. I kind of try to tinkle with other things and try to watch videos and whatnot. And I ended up watching a video of our playoffs, one of the games against Brandon, my 19-year-old year, and I was just kind of fell down the rabbit hole of videos, and I saw a video of Beller saying how a lot of 20-year-olds kind of find their path and are able to dominate and get points and get NHL contracts at their 20-year-old year. And, you know, that kind of hit home because it was, I never really thought I'd be able to get an NHL contract. I was, you know, even my 20-year-old year, I was talking to a lot of schools, kind of seeing where my next route was. And I just tried to focus on getting better every day. And, you know, the atmosphere in the room really helped. You know, every single guy in Lethbridge, if I saw him down the street, I'd give him a big hug. But I think I don't know. I just had the mindset leading into my 20-year-old year that I want to play professional hockey. I want to play in the NHL, and I have the best opportunity to catapult myself into the NHL's eyes with the team we had, the coaching staff we had, and the opportunity we had. So I kind of threw everything into it, and I was able to get an NHL contract which I never thought I'd be able to get. So I was fortunate enough to get that. And, there's a lot of good players better than me, but I was able to, prove myself.
When you finally signed that entry-level deal with the New York Rangers, what was that moment like? Because I feel from your standpoint, and probably your entire family, your mom, your dad, and all your family, it kind of is that culmination of all that hard work up to that point. What was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, it was the grind of it was hockey. I was, driving from Regina at 17 back to Calgary overnight, staying, and then leaving at 6 a.m. to drive up to Grand Prairie, 8 hours, be there for a month, get traded to Kootenay, go to Kootenay, and then play a year, travel up and down, go to Lethbridge, travel, go up and down, get in the lineup, start to find myself. Go to 3 different curriculums in school, almost not graduate because of border crossings and online classes and just crap like that. And it was kind of a moment of relief for me, knowing that I was able to sustain a goal and push myself to get a goal that I've had since I was 4 years old, have an NHL contract. It was definitely a sign of release, but it was also a big eye opener knowing that there's a lot more work to do. I mean, I'm so close to the NHL, but I'm also probably the furthest I've ever been from the NHL. So every day I look at that as trying to get 1% better is what our kind of joke mock thing that we say at the gym lately is just that 1% better. Every day it's kind of funny, but it's true. Every day you have to come and get better. And I was able to realize just how much hard work there was more needed to be done.
I want to ask you about your production in your overage season. You mentioned the 39 goals and the 81 points to catapult you to that NHL deal. But we talked earlier about how confidence is such a thing. And you think of the spring last year when you were playing with the Lethbridge Hurricanes, 13 straight games with a goal. When you think back to that run, that's a pretty incredible run. What do you remember from that experience?
I don't know. I kind of lived in the moment. I just tried to do the same stuff every day. I was very routine. The biggest thing I was loose. It sounds really terrible to say, but I didn't really care about the goal streak. I didn't care about how long I could keep it going. All I cared about was coming to the rink every day and putting in a good effort every day, making myself better, making my teammates better, making our team better. So if we were winning games, I was happy, and I was just lucky enough to be able to find the net on a lot of shots there. So, I give Dylan Cousins and Taylor Ross and our defensive core there a lot of credit for that point streak. So, I was able to find areas to put the puck in the net, and those guys were skilled enough and good enough to get me the puck. So, there was a lot of guys being really successful in that time period, and we were kind of on a roll. So I kind of just think I was living in the moment. I don't really think too much about it.
It was a pretty incredible run. You talk about living in the moment, and when you think back to the playoff last year, does it still kind of, I know talking with Jordy a couple of weeks ago, he said it still kind of eats at him, that first round loss to Calgary. Does it do the same for you?
Yeah, it does. I was on the golf course yesterday with my cousin, and we were just talking about hockey, and it kind of fired me up talking about the first round there, and all the adversity we had to deal with, not being in our rink, injuries and whatever, like just not finding it or whatnot, or battling back. Calgary, they were a young, probably less skilled team than we were, but they worked their butts off. They worked hard. They had a lot of heart. Their coach worked them hard and coached them well. So I give them props for that. But it looking on paper, it should have been a dead kill for us. And it just, for some reason, we couldn't find it. So I'm not going to throw the blame game or anything, but it was a lot of adversity that we had to deal with, and we just fell short. So, it still haunts me for sure. I'm still not – I think our team could have gone really far if we would have pulled that one.
That's sports, isn't it?
It is. Looking back,
you look at the year before, your first year, it's a 500 team that not a lot of people expected anything. You go to the conference final, and last year kind of the opposite for whatever reason. When you think of your time in Lethbridge, 2 years, what what do you think of when you hear the word Lethbridge and the city name? What kind of stands out to you, maybe even beyond the hockey?
A lot, like the hockey, obviously. Like that, the atmosphere at the NMAX is unbelievable. Like nothing I'd ever played in front of before. You know, you play a Friday night game against Medicine Hat at home. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. I mean, there's so many memories I have. Like for sure, it was the best place I've ever played. It was the most fun I've ever had. My billets were incredible. I love them like family. The guys on the team, I love them like family. Um, the thing that sticks out a lot for me right now is when Jackson Shepherd got in a fight and the fans pushed the glass onto the ice. It's just stuff like that. It's crazy. Like I've never seen that or heard of that ever before. And just the celebrations after games, after we win, Beller doing his stupid dance in the dressing room, and guys are just having a good time and just having fun. So those are the things that I really cherish. And I have Dino Cambites at the gym, and we're really good friends. And I'm reliving my Lethbridge days through him, which is really fun.
When you think, I mean, so many memories you mentioned about on the ice and with the guys in the dressing room. You were from the get-go, instrumental in getting out into the community, and you were the Community Relations Award winner both years you played here. How important was that for you in Lethbridge? And I imagine you've probably parlayed that on to where you are now.
Yeah, I've tried to do my best. It's a little different now in pro. There's not as many community things. I try to put my feet in everything kind of thing. And, that was a big piece for me growing up. I always looked up to hockey players, and when they'd show me the time of day, it kind of made my night, my week kind of thing. And so I just tried to be a good influence on younger kids and fans, and kind of show them that we're not just robots, we're not jerks, we're people too. That's a lot of people forget, is that we're people too before hockey players. And I just tried to relate to as many people as I can. And the community in Lethbridge is like I've never been a part of. It's I'm walking down the street and somebody recognizes me and just says hi, and I recognize fans on the streets. I used to sit up in section, I think it's M top row, just to the right of our zone where we warm up. I used to sit there before every game kind of thing, before I get ready. And the same season ticket holders would sit there every day. We had our own little routines, and it made them feel like they were part of the success of the team. And it's stuff like that I just really cherish. And it's I can't pick out certain plays of games and goals. I mean, I can for some, but the things that really stick out are the things off the ice, the fans, the community, coming up and seeing my parents after a win, and everyone around is smiling, patting you on the back because you won, all the fans, family, the whole community of Lethbridge. It felt like one family that rallied around the Hurricanes. So I was lucky enough to be a part of that.
Such an inspiring story. Your path to professional hockey right now, and hopefully there's still more to be written in that journey. For those that don't know, of course, Maine Mariners, Hartford Wolfpack, part of the New York Rangers organization. And with hockey starting back up in Edmonton and Toronto with the hub cities, of course the Rangers are in Toronto. Have you been watching? Are you excited? Do you think the Rangers have a shot?
Yeah, you know what? I think every team has a chance at winning this cup. It's probably the biggest even playing field for hockey and for sports, probably. Unfortunately, I don't have cable in my apartment that I'm living at. I tend to just watch a lot of Apple TV. But I can find ways to watch it. I've watched the Calgary-Edmonton game, a little bit of it last night, and I watched my good friend Cale Fleury on Montreal. I watched his game last night as well. So I'm trying to stay in touch. I love watching hockey, so I'm going to do my best with no cable. But yeah, if the Rangers were in Edmonton, I'd probably go and creep their hotel, maybe see if they want to go golfing or something. But no, I just think it's really awesome. I think it's really cool that they're doing this and the setup they have, and I think it'll be really fun for viewers and fans to watch.
Well, we look forward to the day where Jake Elmer is donning a New York Rangers jersey full-time. Jake, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Porty. I appreciate it.
All right, there's another edition of Saturday Sit Down with Jake Elmer. We hope you enjoyed it.